Hi team. So I am excited about AutoGen framework from Microsoft which came recently. So interest within AutoGen framework and agents in general is growing day by day. So basically we are making agents who can do specialized tasks. For example, they can mimic different departments like marketing and sales within an organization, or they can mimic different people, for example, developer and tester. So it is simplifying the orchestration of workflows using large language models. Agents in general are not new. So there have been frameworks like Langchain, Llamaindex, and Haystack, which already have these sort of things available. What I am interested with AutoGen is in doing following: maybe build some program, test them, and even deploy them, collect information from web whenever it's not available, have conversational role playing agents, for example, to mimic different departments, and controlling behavior with human feedback. So I did two experiments. In experiment number one, what I tried to do was give it some tasks. For example, task one was, can you write a program which can mimic a service like Pingdom? So if you are not aware about Pingdom, it's a SaaS service which can ping regularly and check whether the service is live or not. So I try to give it a task to create such sort of program, and then in task 2, what I tried to do was ask it how to deploy this program, and it did a pretty good job. I will have a walkthrough of that specific thing which I worked with it. In experiment number 2, what I tried to do is, let's say I have some sort of product, for example the same product which I talked about, service which can see if this other websites are live or not. If I have to make it live, which means I have to launch this product, what are the steps necessary between different departments? For example, let's say, can we plan it? Can product make it? What will be the marketing and sales strategy for it? So what I did was I made some different conversational agents which converse between themselves and try to achieve some sort of strategy by which they can launch this product. Yeah, so over to the code now. So here is my experiment number 1. So what I did was I installed all the necessary libraries, for example PyAutoGen, Docker for executing the code, and so on. And then within AutoGen, if you see, there is some boilerplate code which you have to do always. For example, making this environment variable called OAI config list, and doing some other boilerplate code. So again, we'll not go into details, but this is something which is necessary, where you can provide things like timeout, your access key tokens, and all those sort of things you try to do. Now post that, what you try to do is you try to make some agents. So for example, what I did was I create this agent again from the documentation itself, and what I try to do is again give it different tasks. So for example, the task which I gave it was that, can you create a Python program to monitor if the website is live or not? So as I told you, there is a service called Pingdom which does the same. And what this uh, agent tried to do was, again I will show the output. It actually created some Python program, for example website monitor.py, and it imported all the libraries. For example, request, it checked whether whenever it is pinging different websites, which is given here, if the status code is 200, which is HTTP status code, that it's working, then it can just print that the website is live, or else it will print that there is some problem. So again, it wrote this program and it actually executed it. So if you see here, it executed it, and it said, okay, the website is live and so on. So this was the task one which it created. Now the task two that I gave it to was, can you help me deploy this program on AWS Lambda? And the first time when I executed it, I actually provided all my security tokens for AWS, for example ID, token, as well as region. And actually it wrote something, it tried to deploy on my AWS account with the name which I have given it. There was some problem with the role which was assigned, and that's why it failed. But again, I am pretty sure that if the roles were successful, if it would have proper role assigned, it would have also done that. So basically what it would have done is create a CI/CD pipeline sort of thing which can automatically deploy on AWS itself. So that's what it did. But again, I was afraid because my access tokens and IDs might go somewhere. So I just didn't go through that. And instead what I did was I changed the prompt and said, don't execute the code. So give me the steps necessary, but let me deploy by my own, and I won't give you the credentials. And this is the response which I get. The response is, to do with this Lambda function, to deploy to the Lambda function, what you need to do is, you already have this program. Then what you need to do is make your code and dependencies, like for example, install a request and all. And it wrote all these steps, like doing this thing, putting it under zip file, then go to AWS management console and upload your code and so on. So this is again pretty much what is necessary to do, and at least I was impressed. So definitely I stopped and not giving it my AWS credentials. But if I would have given it and the proper roles would have been assigned, I'm pretty sure it would have executed it, and in my AWS dashboard I could have seen it. So this is an example of giving it different tasks with human feedback. And there are two tasks which I gave one by one from the human feedback perspective. In first one I said write a program, second I said can you deploy it. So this was experiment number one. So here is the experiment number two, and this is much more exciting because it involves multiple agents which can converse among themselves. So experiment number one was where there was a single agent doing different tasks, but here what we can do is we can have different agents interact with each another, and we can also have human in the loop, which is we can have our feedback also given to different agents. So this is how we started. So basically we installed all the libraries, and again the boilerplate code which is necessary. And then what we tried to do was we defined different agents. For example, this agent is nothing but myself, which is human. Then we tried to define several different departments, for example sales, marketing, and product. So they have their role defined, so what they can do, for example what kind of plans they can work on, and so on. There's a planner also which plans for everyone. So basically it initiates planning for each department, and each department like sales, marketing, and product have to listen to this plan and follow this plan. So this is what planner does. And then again we have something called critic also, and critic is a, as name suggests, it's a critic, and it checks and again checks and give feedback as such. So this is where different agents are defined. So the only thing which is necessary is this is nothing but a human as such, which is we are ourselves defining us as a user proxy, and everyone else is a agent. And here is what we are doing. So we are instantiating, or starting the conversation where we are saying that we are a SaaS product, and which checks for customer website is live or not periodically. Now let's start to have conversation among different stakeholders, and this is how it worked out. So I'm just going to read these things. Like, for example, we said that this is how we start. So now again, planner to different uh, chat managers, which it says, can we do product development, can we do marketing strategy, can we do sales strategy, product launch, post launch, customer support, and product updates. So basically what we did was, we tried to go through this planner. This planner interacted with different agents, for example, sales, marketing, and product. It came up and wrote all these steps which are necessary. This may be seeing little, I would say, repetitive, or you may say that, okay, this sounds okay grammatically, but again, what is the USP in this? So again, the USP could be if I could have defined my prompts much more better towards different product, or if, let's say, for each different department, if I would have better things defined for them, better instructions defined for them, then this specific thing could be like much more better. So that is one of the things which can come up. And again, once it did at step number one, then critic also came into the picture. And what critic did was, it says, okay, you cover all the necessary step, but it's not specific, it's very generalized. Can you do some sort of other things? For example, see the interesting thing, it says that can you talk about SEO, PPC, social market, media marketing, and content marketing, and so on. And that's how it tried to have the feedback given to different stakeholders. Now, when it was executing, I would also have the ability to give it a feedback. So actually, I gave it a feedback that make it more precise, we need AWS Lambda to deploy such a solution. And it again went back with revised plan. So planner went to all other agents and it revised it little bit. Again, I don't see much of a change as such. It almost remained the same. But yeah, you can do these steps again and again. You can have feedback again and again. So at the end, this was the strategy which it came up. And you know this may sound like sort of very banal kind of conversation, but at least it was very interesting to see that these different agents are conversing among themselves. And if you look into it, that makes sense. So these sort of things which can they do. Now, for a specific problem, if we can go into much more details, then definitely we will feel the power of these different agents, and they can definitely provide better feedback, or better plan to action to us. So that was the conclusion. So yeah, today what we did was we explored two different ways of working with agents. So one was where we give a same agent different task, and second was a conversation among different agents. uh, Hope you like it. Thank you all. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.